right, podcast 2.7. We're going to do two notes in this one because one of them's short. Qualifications to register and vote in Virginia. To vote in Virginia, you have to be a citizen of the United States. You have to be a resident of Virginia, and you have to live in the precinct you're voting in. So I vote at Lorton Station Elementary School. I have to live in that precinct of Lorton Station Elementary School. You have to be at least 18, and you have to register at least 22 days before the election.
Can I ask you, President and Governor, what requirements do you have to vote?
Well, first you must be a citizen of the U.S., and second you must be 18 years or older.
You also have to meet the residency requirements of your state.
Please excuse this interruption.
Alright, so that's who can vote. How do we predict who will vote? We're going to look at three things. Education. The more education you have, the more likely you are to vote. Your age, the older you are, the more likely you are to vote. And then income. The more money you make, the more likely you are to vote. So let's look at people who might vote.
This election will determine the future of our country, and this election will be determined by the undecided voter.
It seems that more than 96% of voters have already made up their minds about this election. Well, I guess some of us are just a little bit harder to please. We're not impressed by political spin or 30-second sound bites. Before you get our vote, you're gonna have to answer some questions. Questions like,
When is the election? How soon do we have to decide?
what are the names of the two people running? And be specific.
Who is the president right now? Is he or she running? Because if so, experience is maybe something we should consider.
How long is a president's term of office? 1 year? 2 years? 3 years? Or life?
if it's for life, frankly, we're not comfortable with that. We don't need to be electing a dictator.
What happens if the president dies? Has anyone thought about who would replace him? What's your plan, gentlemen?
Can women vote? Because if not, as a woman, I've got a big problem with that. And by the way, if men can't vote, in my opinion, that's just as wrong.
We hear a lot about our dependence on foreign oil, but just what is oil? And what is it used for?
Can a woman have a baby just from French kissing? If you burp, fart, and sneeze at the same time, do you die?
Where's the power for?
We are America's undecided voters. There's still a lot we don't know.
And we want answers.
Low Information Voters of America is responsible for the content of this advertising. This election will determine the...
Alright, so let's talk why should you register to vote? Why is it important to vote? So let's have Chuck Norris tell us why you should register to vote.
Top 10 reasons to register to vote with Chuck Norris. Number 10.
You can always ignore my advice. The dinosaurs did.
Number 9.
Because I'll know if you don't.
Number 8.
You have time right now. I know, because I'm standing right behind you.
Number 7.
It's taken me a lifetime to earn your respect. You can earn mine by registering to vote.
Number 6.
Because I said so.
Number 5.
Anyone can throw a punch. It takes a real man or woman to punch a voter registration card.
Number 4.
Because the other guys don't want you to. Well, I know who they are.
Number 3.
There's only one thing stronger than these. Your vote.
Number 2.
I get asked for my autograph all the time. Now your country is asking for yours.
Number 1.
With one hand, I can crush coal into a diamond. With yours, you can protect your rights.
Number 11.
So how do you register to vote? In Virginia, you can do it at the registrar's office. which is a voter registrar's office. You can also do the DMV, other designated sites. You can do it at by mail, and you can also do it online. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. This is brand new within the last couple of years. You can register to vote online. So I'm going to show you a little video here. They don't talk about that just because it's so new. So let's go ahead and watch the video.
You're watching Registering to Vote, developed by the Virginia State Board of Elections. As a U.S. citizen 18 years or older in good standing, you have the right to vote. This can be a challenge if you are elderly or a citizen with a disability. But the State Board of Elections is here to help. The first step? You'll need to register to vote by filling out a voter registration form. There are 3 ways to do this. 1. Register in person. Visit your local general registrar's office at least 22 days prior to an election. Fill out the form and sign it in the presence of a registrar. 1 stop and you're all done. 2. By phone. To find your local registrar office phone number, you must first go to the State Board of Elections website at www.sbe.virginia.gov and click on the local voter registration link. Call this designated number and we'll mail you a voter registration form. Complete it and then mail it to the address of the voter registration office for the county or city in which you live. A list of addresses will be sent to you along with the form. You can also bring it to your local registrar's office. 3. Go online to the State Board of Elections site and download your application. Print it, fill it out, and then mail it to your local registrar's office. Again, registrar addresses will be provided with the application, or you can bring it to your registrar's office yourself. Whether you mail your application or deliver it by hand, remember there are voter registration deadlines. Applications must be either postmarked or delivered in person no later than 22 days before the next primary or general election. Registration deadlines may be shorter for special elections. Please contact your local general registrar for more information. So let's recap. You can fill out a voter registration form at your local registrar's office, call us toll-free, or download a form online. Fill out the form and mail it or deliver it in person to your local voter registration office by the appropriate deadline. That's it. Thank you for watching Registering to Vote in Virginia. For more information on registering to vote or to contact the Virginia State Board of Elections, call us toll-free at 1-800-552-9745 or go online to www.sbe.virginia.gov.
So let's talk about why citizens fail to vote. A lot of times it's because of lack of interest, failure to register. There's a lot less people who vote in. There's a lot more people that vote in presidential elections than vote in state and local elections. It's like that. So a lot less people will vote in 2013, 2014, 2015 than will vote in 2016. Okay. So let's look at a little video about why Americans don't vote.
Regardless of who's bankrolling America's political campaigns, the United States is seen as the hallmark of democracy by many people worldwide. But most Americans choose not to take advantage of their political rights. The United States has the second lowest voter turnout rate among the world's developed nations. In fact, only 57% of American citizens voted in the 2008 presidential election, and a mere 38% of Americans made it to the polls in the 2010 national elections. Those figures pale in comparison to the 89% of Belgians or the 85% of Swedes who voted in their last elections. So CCTV's Nina Donaghy set out to find out why so few Americans are engaged in the political process.
A summer's day in the nation's capital, enjoyed by ordinary American citizens who can name their vice president.
What's his name? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
And their home state senator.
I'm from Michigan. No, I can't.
They're up to date with political process.
Can you tell me, what a super PAC is.
A super what? A super
PAC. PAC.
And know the membership of the US Supreme Court.
Kennedy is his name, or... well...
This is who will cast votes in November's presidential election. If Barack Obama and Mitt Romney can get their supporters engaged enough to go to the polls. Professor Jan Leakley is an expert in voter turnout.
Voters respond when they have choices between candidates. The bigger the difference in the candidates' policy positions, what they offer voters, the more likely they are to vote because it makes a difference. And so why, if candidates are similar, why should you spend your time and effort and energy showing up at the polls on Election Day?
In 2008, candidate Obama's soaring rhetoric captured the masses' imagination. But was it his message or his deft campaign strategy that really put him in office?
I'm here with you in that fight.
They have a very dedicated and focused campaign organization, both using social media as well as the good old-fashioned organizing groups in neighborhoods and especially urban areas where a lot of the vote comes from. And he'll resurrect those organizations. They know what's worked. They have a database.
However, Leakley says motivating on a grand scale is a defining skill of a successful politician.
Someone has to be willing to get out of bed and say it matters. And if you see a political leader who either has a vision or is speaking positively, whether that's Obama in this election or Reagan when he ran with his, Morning in America, which is often attributed as motivating folks to show up at the election.
But what about the role of mass media? Did Obama learn from John F. Kennedy, who in the 1960s used the new medium of television to engage voters, in his use of the 21st century equivalent, social media?
In the Kennedy era and beyond, there was one message, there was one major media source, and now we have a new type of media where there isn't a single presidential campaign. Campaigns, I don't know if slice and dice is the right term, but they identify, they have a message for each of their audiences to get people to turn out. I think their social media will matter the most for youth who are far more likely to be online than older generations.
But one of the most dramatic episodes in US voting history, where literally every single vote counted, was in 2000. The contested election that saw George W. Bush beat Al Gore in a painstaking manual vote recount.
Before 2000, no one ever questioned that when you dropped a paper ballot in a box that it wasn't counted. No one ever questioned if you were in a jurisdiction that had an electronic type of machine, that it could make a mistake. And it was a national stage, and that created a new audience.
How you guys doing?
Obama and Romney must first find their audience. Their next challenge, getting them to the polling booths on November 6th. Even here in the US Capitol, that may not be so easy.
Maryland and a senator would be... Oh, help me. Come on, I know these guys.
Nina Donaghy, CCTV, Washington.
And remember, every vote is important. All right, that's the last podcast for Unit 2, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.